the Top Sport Master Driver Series moves into the second round. This time we're down in the Eastern Cape in Port Elizabeth at the Aldo Scribanti circuit. And as you might just see behind us, the bad weather has followed this series down here as well. It's raining, it's windy, and there's lots of sleet around. Now, two drivers go through to the final from each round. In the first round, the Springbok Rally champion Jeff Mortimer, he went through, as did the up-and-coming racing saloon car star Steve Wyndham from Cape Town.
En soos die vorige keer gaan hierdie ronde ook bestaan uit 3 gedeeltes, 'n tydrenseksie, bestuurdersvernuf gedeelte en 'n baanwedren. En die 8 manne wat vandag gaan deelneem, gaan elkeen probeer om deur te dring na die eindronde. Kom ons kyk na die 8 deelnemers vandag.
And it'll be hard to pick a winner from those 8 drivers. There's a world champion there, Wade Nelson, 6-time South African racing champion Ian Schechter. There's rally champions and a lot of up-and-coming stars. Well, the first section was the rally stage, shaped very much like the Aldo Scribanti tar racing track. It was just on 1 kilometre long, going the one way, and then that loop on the right-hand side, they turn about there and then go the reverse direction on that course. There's a time, Peter Lindenberg, a very creditable time of 2 minutes 19,1 in an unfamiliar car. It had front-wheel drive. The surface was like marbles. Ian Schechter a little bit better. He hadn't been in a competition car or in competition for something like 6 years, so he was very pleased with his performance and getting the feel of a very fast little Toyota 16-valve Corolla on the slippery surface. The world champion Wade Nelson, just back from karting overseas, did a 2:18.5, a very good time against some of the rallyists who are expected to do well here. The feeling is always that the rally drivers will do better because they are familiar with the surface. There's Johan Iwitzer. He's one of the foremost stars in this year's rally series, 2 minutes 17,8. So you see the rallyists are starting to do well. Surprise, Michael Briggs. He must have been out practicing. He did a 2:16.3, and the youngsters very serious about this competition, starting to shape well already. You can hear the rattle of the stones underneath the mudguards as these drivers press on here. We're sitting in there with Glyn Hall in the car, and his passenger is Rory Brown from Drive Magazine. Down that long straight, they'll be hitting 160 kilometres an hour as they go into that left-hander. See them using the handbrake. The hand goes down there to pull the handbrake around to make the car turn tighter. Also, some of the drivers using that 2-foot braking, 1 foot on the accelerator pedal, 1 foot on the brake pedal. Back into first there as he pulls out of the corner, a little bit slow coming out of that corner as he fights the wheel a little bit. Familiar with the front-wheel drive car is Glyn Hall. He drives a Works Volkswagen Golf in South African Rally Championship, so he's expected to do well in this event, as indeed he does as he comes up to those final few corners, working hard. Rory Brown has been with some competitors in these cars and he always seems to come back for more. Well, that's the end of the first stage for Glyn Hall, a very good time. 2 minutes 13.9, Glyn, a nice smooth performance.
Not really. We slipped a bit wide at the hairpin at the top there. I braked too late and we slipped into the mud, so I think we lost all the time there.
Difficult on the standard road going tyres?
A bit tricky, not as much grip, you know, a bit unpredictable, but it was my fault there. We just braked too late and that was good.
But you're still in the ballpark anyway.
Well, yeah, well, we'll see later. Might be 4th now or 5th, you know. There's 3 more to go, aren't there?
Who do you see as the biggest threat?
I think Serge and now Colin must be the biggest threat. Evie's obviously going to do well here. And, well, the race will tell. The Gymkhana should be close. I don't know. We shall see. Thank you.
Well, already the favourites are starting to emerge as Colin Hasty gets behind the wheel. He's doing very well this year in Standard Group N racing in the little 1800cc Opel GSI. Getting ready for his start. There's Andrew Gray, flags him away. Still the surface is wet. Still lots of marbles on the surface. He's used to driving a front-wheel drive car on the tar, but certainly not on the dirt. And he was allowed 1 practice lap just to familiarise himself with the shape of the circuit before letting loose on this track. Trying very hard. You always find the competitors nice and relaxed as they are standing around talking. But when they get behind the wheel, the adrenaline starts pumping as they really try hard. Little Bob down there as he comes out of that tight corner. Here we are with him, with Willem van Rooyen alongside him, trying very hard. Willem's there as ballast and also just to show him the direction so the driver can concentrate on the driving of the car. You can see it's wet there with the wet on the camera lenses. Now down this long straight. up into third gear. They'll be hitting 140, 150 kilometers an hour through that right-hander. Here's a tricky one here. Veers off to the left. We go round that loop. Using his racing car experience. A front-wheel drive car, difficult to drive on the dirt quickly. Rear-wheel drive normally steers around corners better as Colin pulls it around using a bit of handbrake turn there. You can see the wheel locking, and he goes back onto the track in the opposite direction. Down that long straight now, he can really let that little 16-valve Corolla have its head. Taking it right up to the rev limiter, just over 7,000 RPM. And that left-hander, you've got to be careful around there, keeping the power on, letting it steer. Using the handbrake. All these corners tightening on the drivers. Gets the tail out, working hard. Taking to the rally stages better than anybody ever expected. Here's a tricky one. There's a lot of mud on the inside here as he goes through it there. Time at that stage as he comes into the final stretch of the course and heads for the checkered flag, and at 2:13, the fastest so far.
Yeah, I think so.
Colin, a road race, the fastest so far.
Yeah, it's magic. Really tried, and well, it's magic.
You were giving it everything.
Yeah, and sometimes more than that, but it came off, and I'm happy.
Colin, do you like driving on the dirt?
Yes and no. It's magic to get the car sliding, and you can play around with it, and it's magic, but it's not as precise and exact, and not as nice as track racing. That's magic. That's what it's all about.
Well, for a man that likes track racing better, he does very well on the dirt. Well, here's a legend in his own time, doing exceptionally well this year in the South African Rally Championship in his very hot Toyota Conquest is Serge Damsou, Western Province Race and Rally Champion. Equally at home on the tar or on the dirt, and a very hard competitor as well. Raced Alphas in his early days, and then he was into Fords, and now he's into Toyotas and doing very well for them. His passenger in the car is Siegfried Schumann, and certainly getting a lesson how a front-wheel drive car should be driven on the dirt. Easy out of that muddy turn, and here he goes down the straight there. He's used to this motor car. He races one in standing group N racing as he gets that tail out. And you just see how easy he makes it all look. No fighting the wheel, very smooth driver. And a very hard driver to compete against. He can hold his own in any company, can Serge Damsou. And a rally stage like this is absolutely nothing for him. He's used to going at about 3 times the speed, unsighted through corners, and just hoping that he's going to be able to control the car around blind corners. Right, round the loop now, and then he gets back onto the circuit in the opposite direction, and at this stage he should have done it in about a minute, which in fact he had done. The talk at that time was how quick Colin Hastie had gone, and suddenly he's starting to emerge as one of the favourites in this competition. Here's the other one at work here too. His main rally competitor was Johan Ivertser, was Glyn Hall, who we were talking earlier. Sign of a good driver. He makes it look easy, doesn't fight the wheel as he goes through these tight corners. And that little Corolla taking a tremendous pounding. Those are standard road going tyres, doing very well on the surface. Handbrake turn, you can see him using the handbrake, back onto the wheel. Not spectacular, surprisingly not spectacular, because Serge is very, very spectacular in his full-blown rally cars. He comes up to the flag, and there's Andrew go. 2:13.5, fractionally slower than Colin Hastie. So there's the result. Colin Hastie, a bit of a surprise, but emerging as a favourite, as we say. Serge Damsou expected to be doing well, and then rallyist was Glyn Hall, and Michael Briggs, also another surprise, one of the racing car drivers. So we move on to the autotest stage. You can see it there, it's 25 metres around a right-hander. You reverse, you've got to straddle the lines in those parking areas, reverse in, straddle the lines again. then a 360-degree turn. Some of them use their handbrakes to get around quicker. Into the garage, you've got to spin the car on the handbrake there and finally reverse it into the finishing area. You mustn't touch bollards and you must straddle the line. And the first man away, Ian Schechter, there's a legend in South African motorsport, 6-time South African racing car champion. Let's watch him at work. No mistakes there, nice clean drive. The racing car drivers feeling they must make up for their position in the rally stages. Absolutely where you want it as he goes and straddles the line there. Nothing spectacular. The 360-degree turn as he uses his handbrake. Not really, just keeps powering it on. Now he wants to spin the car as he enters the garage. There he goes. Handbrake this time and powers it out. Those Firestone tires certainly taking a hammering. Last spin in there, very good time. Schechter goes in there and very thrilled. 5 seconds faster than his practice.
They loved it, Ian, the fastest so far.
Thanks very much. It was a lot easier than earlier. Good for the practice.
And Ian just walked away from that one just saying, well, that's how you should do it. Right, next up, Peter Lindenberg, the South African powerboat champion. Also a lot of experience in racing cars in BMWs. Meaning to do well this time too. He wants to show those rallyists how to go about driving a production car quickly. No fireworks. Reverse into the second parking area, straddle the lines. Wasting a little bit of time there. And now the 360-degree. Just keeps pouring the power on as he goes round and round. Now, as he enters the garage, he should start to spin the car, as he does. Now, oh, and the power comes on quickly, really giving those tires a workout. And across the area, very good time there by Peter Lindenberg, making up for things. And a big contingent from the press watching as well.
Just a fraction slower than Ian, Peter.
Oh, well, we were last. I was last and you were second last yesterday. So now we're first and second. So maybe Shecky and I can give them a bit of a bump on the racetrack tomorrow.
And there's Ian Schechter with his wife, Angela. Well, Colin Hastie, the adrenaline's starting to pump, meaning to do well. Doesn't want to make any mistakes as the way he goes. Familiar with front-wheel drive cars, this is where you can win or lose this competition. It's a lot of skill and a little bit of luck thrown in. Just overdo it once and you can basically say goodbye to your chances in the whole competition. Taking time, trying to get that reverse. They're all so relaxed, or they look so relaxed, but when they are under the stopwatch and in front of the cameras, then the adrenaline certainly starts to pump and you can make mistakes. Not too spectacular, just doing a competent job there. Nice turn. Must have been practicing on the wife shopping car as he goes into there. This is going to be a good time as well.
Playing it safe, Colin.
No errors, the other guys made errors. I've got a good position from yesterday. I've got to go in tomorrow in a reasonable good position to come out at the end of the day in a good position.
And Steve Wyndham has come up from Cape Town. He's one of the finalists, just to see how his opposition is doing in the second leg of the Top Sport Master Drivers. Right, the legend himself, Serge Damsou. He's won the Valvoline Rally so far this year in the Toyota Conquest. Now he's out in a standard 16-valve Avanti. Serge makes it look so easy. Makes few mistakes, positions it nicely, has no trouble with the gearbox. Used to it as well. Some of these drivers saying after the competition that next year, if they're invited to drive, they're going to go out and even buy these little Corollas to be able to practice and go to some parking area on a Saturday afternoon to really get the hang of it. Very competent job there. Handbrake turn, pause it on. And this is going to be one of the fastest times, that's for sure. And it is, in fact.
And that's an all-time record, Serge, the best time we've ever had.
Is it? I don't know.
It's very good indeed. No mistakes.
Thank you, Rog. Everybody's complaining about the gearbox, but I don't see any problem with the gearbox.
And you can hear that nervousness under that relaxed image they tend to give you. Right, Michael Briggs, here's a man that's going place in South African motorsport. He was in motocross, he was the Eastern Province karting champion and does exceptionally well in the standard Group N racing, and also can handle the modified cars as well. He drives for the Opel team in the South African Championship racing. He's a PE boy, he wants to do well on his home ground, and he's doing very well. Very smooth driver, no mistakes so far. Watch for those flags going up. But Marshall's there, one mistake, don't straddle the line, and it's 10 seconds onto your time, and that's really you just blowing out the competition. See the handbrake on there, locking that back wheel, doing it again, pouring the power. A very good drive. This is the fastest so far. Going very well as he reverses into the finish area, and that is the fastest. Oh, and he's knocked a bollard over. Bit controversial there, he'd passed the timing lights. Not too happy, Michael.
Michael, that was an all-time record, but you picked up 10 seconds there. 41.7, bad luck.
Well, I tried. I thought I'd missed this last pylon here, but it looks like I left it.
And you were taking that very, very seriously, eh?
This is very, very serious. You can't play the fool with this. Thanks.
Well, I think that sums it up. They do take it seriously. Well, Serge Damzu getting a nice 10 points there. It was the racing drivers doing well there. Serge, of course, classed as a racing driver now, Ian Schechter and Peter Lindenberg. And as they went into the race, Serge had the 18 points, a little bit comfortable ahead of Colin Hastie. Ian Schechter with an outside chance of going through to the final.
We're going to the third and final test, and you're lying third at the moment. Ian, how are you going to play this one?
Well, it's a 10-lap race, and judging from the tyres from practice, it doesn't look like they're going to do the whole 10 laps. So I particularly cooled my front tyres in practice with these cars with the front-wheel drive, and my tyres are looking good, but whether the actual tyres will collapse in the race and I'll come through or not, I don't know. But I would say for 5-6 laps, we'll have to look after the whole car and everything, and then for the last 4, give it a real push. If I'm close, well, we'll try.
What have you got to do to win?
I must come first or second, and Colin Hastie's got to have a really bad result. So it is going to be tough, but Colin's just ahead of me on the grid, and his tyres are looking rotten at this stage, so maybe he won't be there at the end.
I heard the rally guys planning to push the racing drivers off.
Well, maybe that'll happen, but we'll got a lot of experience. You know, they haven't got experience in wheel-to-wheel racing, and I'm sure we can handle them.
Right, let's get around this track and just see what's ahead of them. All these drivers treating it like a sprint. The tyres will just have to look after themselves. They don't dare take it easy here. It's over 10 laps as they go away from the start-finish area, down the long straight, down to 4. These are well-known corners to race fans down in Port Elizabeth. It's the first time we've actually ever had live action at the Aldo Scribante circuit. The forward corner is a quick entrance, then it starts to tighten on you along that little short straight through the very tricky S's. They use the curbs on the left-hand side, they use the curbs, as you'll see, going through on the right-hand side, and then they go exit out on the left-hand side, another tight curve. And then it's short straight through the kink. They start rising up through a slight hill, up to Hango, where they can keep the pedal right on the floorboards, and along a short straight along to Hans Hairpin. Here they come towards you. This one tightens on you. It's got to be heavy braking. You've got to get the tail out, and you just power it on and hang on to that steering wheel. Starts to go downhill a wee bit, down to the Delta dip, and go through there a lot quicker than you think. You keep the power on, just throw the car in sideways, power it out, you come over the tunnel there. There's Armco railing waiting for you on the outside if you make a mistake, and then you just look after yourself as you go up there, making sure that nobody takes you on the inside as you go around BP Pen, and then a short straight down to the Opel Tower and the finish of the first lap. There's 8 cars in the race, and they're all in the RSI 16 valves as away they go. They're on to their second lap, and in the front we've got Serge Damzu, and right tucked in behind him is Michael Briggs, following him on his way down to Ford Corner. Fighting it out, there's Hall and Hastie in 3rd and 4th. Hastie only having to get a 4th to go through to the final. Michael Briggs keeping the pressure on. He's been pushed off in this corner a couple of times, using all the road up on that concrete cushion. They just keep the power on these 16 valve motors on all the way around. And you can hear those tyres taking a tremendous pounding there. It's Damzo and Briggs. Then it's Hastie with Hall on his tail. Schechter's there with Nelson, and then Peter Lindenberg with Johan Iwitzer right on his tail. We're in there with Glenn Hall. Ahead of him is Colin Hastie, They are giving those engines a full workout. Trying to take him on the inside. He's pushing it there, really fighting the car. Colin Hasty ahead. You can see Briggs. He's got his own battle going there with Serge Damzu. Damzu and Briggs. Michael Briggs losing a little bit of ground as they go through the Delta dip. Using all the road, and now he wants to keep him out on the way to the hairpin onto BP. Can't have anybody sneaking through on the inside. Hasty's got Hall worrying him all the way. He's going for it. Hall going through on the inside. He's got Hasty on his left-hand side. You'll see him coming to the... Oh, there's a bump there. This is in with Colin Hasty, and Hall gets by. That's the way to do it, and that's the way they do it in Group N racing. Both of them fighted there. A little bit of damage on those motor cars. Damzu, Briggs losing a bit of ground, and now it's Hall with Hasty. Then Schechter's got Wade Nelson right on his tail, and Lindenberg is there with him, and Johan Evertse bringing up the rear. Damzu got himself a nice lead there. Michael Briggs has got to do something about that. Glenn Hall is next. Hasty's next, and here is Schechter and Nelson having a full go. Nelson having to give way there. We're looking backwards from Schechter's car. Wade Nelson, the world karting champion, giving it his all. He's got Lindenberg worrying him, and Johan Evertse not far behind him. And just look at them getting those cars sideways. Through the second of the S's. Going through Hanger now. They'll be coming up to Hanger, then along to Hunt's Corner. There's nothing in it. The leaders are getting away there. Damzu safe in front there, but Briggs has got to make other plans. And there's the big battle going on. Hall has got Hasty tailing him. Here's Schechter, Nelson, Lindenberg closer, Johan Evertse right in there, getting his first taste of Group N saloon car racing, and not disgracing himself at all, staying right in there with the more regular drivers on the top. Here's the leader, Damzu. Briggs is now getting away from Glenn Hall, giving a surprisingly good account of himself on the tar. Hasty will be making plans. He's only got to hold on to that fourth position to find his way through to the final. Nelson now starting to worry Schechter. You can see Lindenberg peeping into the picture just behind, and 20 meters behind him, Evertse. Just listen to those motors revving. Right over 7,000 onto the rev limiter, up past the start-finish area. They are giving it a full go there. And Schechter now closing the door on Nelson and keeping him out as they're going to Ford Corner. And we're into the final lap now, and Damzu's got Briggs making his final bid as they go through the S's. It's the left-handers. They head up through Hanger. They don't lift at all. They're using all the circuit. They're pulling the marbles onto the road, and Briggs is closing up. That car ahead of him is very wide as he comes up to Hunt's Corner. Damzu in the middle of the road. He's going to get it sideways. There he goes, and Briggs has now got to try and push his way through, and the inside of Damzu goes wide. No room there. He's using all the road, and there's just the two corners to go. Left-handed Delta and the right-handed BP, forcing those cars through right to the outside of the road. Damzu, an old hand at this sort of racing. Mind you, so is Michael Briggs. Here's the last chance. Damzu in the middle of the road, braking very late, getting that car sideways. Briggs will have to just hope he goes wide, but he doesn't. He's right onto the curb as Briggs, trying to get through on the inside, but no chance. Damzu's through to win it with Michael Briggs right in his tail as they get the flag from Des Andrew Gray. And then it's Glenn Hall getting the better of Colin Hasty. So Damzu winning that one to add to the auto test. Michael Briggs a very good second, a good race that one. Wade Nelson worrying Ian Schechter all the way to the line ahead of Lindenberg and Evertse. And Serge Damzu, Colin Hasty going through to the finals, not much in it. The next round is going to be down at the Eldo Scrivanti circuit. The fourth round is at Lichtenberg, and the final is in Pretoria. So with 2 rounds to go, who's going to join these 4 drivers, the 2 established rally champions and the 2 young road racers, in the final?